The Onyx Boox Page. A great name of a unit, but why is it here when the leaf still exists? This is evidently supposed to replace the leaf, as it is made from the exact same body and shares majority of the same specifications. Well, there are a few things different. This has double the speed at an octa-core processor, features 3 gigs of RAM instead of 2, and has a larger battery. All of that comes at the expense of weight, as it is 10 to 20 grams heavier depending on what unit of Leaf 2 you had. So with that all out of the way, let's dive into the actual unit itself and explore the page. Honestly, guys, this is a lot of what we've seen before when it comes to Onyx. It's very similar to the Leaf. In fact, the Leaf still, as per the date of this upload, exists alongside this unit. So let's just go over some stuff, look at some videos, quickly hit up some books, and then we'll be out of here, right? So this is the overall look of the device when you do the drop down. This is the drop down from the top. You get mute, screencast, rotate, E INK center. You're going to live and die by this because this is your speed modes, and we will show you this when we get over to the videos. I also would like to point out they've gone back to X and they don't call it ultra fast, so that's really interesting how they kind of flip-flop between their terminologies. We are going to turn the glow light off, just showing you it does have one. We'll save that till the very end. Now the touch boxes are pretty good, but sometimes it overlaps into other things, so as you see there, it just kind of went away from us a little bit. So let's look at what we have here. We got everything down below. We got our library, store, storage, apps, and settings. We'll just hit up settings for a little bit. There's a ton of things in the settings, so you have to be very careful. There's a lot here. There's like subsections and things like that too. I believe you can click that and it opens up a bunch more. You can do factory reset and everything. You do have the ability to choose power. You can make it turn off. You can customize the side keys. You can do key mapping, which a lot of Onyx products don't really have. Some of them do, but for the most part, companies like iReader, they really kind of pioneered key mapping, where you can change this to 1 second touch, 1.5 second, you can make it do nothing. You can do a bunch of things here, and they don't have to be page turns. You can choose different applications. You can make them go back. You can make them turn the glow light on. So key mapping is quite interesting, and it's good to have. Going over to the store really quick, I do appreciate that Onyx does have a store, but really it is just public domain things, and there's not really going to be any high-level releases of anything, so it's kind of nice that they give you a place to get your books, but it's no different than if you were to go to Project Gutenberg or just type anything into Google and then type .mobi or .epub, Mobi and EPUB, and just download them, because honestly, these are just going to be books that you can find at normal places. Now, they also have an app store, which I also don't recommend. Nothing bad against Onyx, but I mean, come on, there's only 16 apps. There's only a couple apps here. Okay, well, there's a little bit more than 16 if you go to the other tabs, but there's not going to be more than a handful of 30 apps. And the beauty about Onyx is that they absolutely advocate for Google Play. I mean, they have Google Play on this unit. You can download anything you want. And if your question is, can I download X? You just say yes, because this is a tablet. This isn't an e-reader. This is an Android tablet with Android 11 on board with an octa-core processor. This is not an e-reader, although they have the page turn buttons. They've done away with it being an e-reader. That's what the Leaf is kind of earmarked for. This has more RAM, this has twice the speed, and it's actually a bigger battery, and it's a little bit heavier too, so there's a lot of differences between this. You can download anything on Google Play. You don't have to worry about where you're going to get your apps. You will get them there. And as you can see here, we've downloaded Kindle, and we have things downloaded on our account to our library, which we're going to check out right now. When you open up a book, by default, you can use these for volume, because how the app works is that this isn't a Kindle, this is the Kindle app. How you would mitigate this is go over here, click on that, go over to more, and then scroll down and use the volume controls as page turn keys. Now when you go back, you will be able to use the volume controls as the page turn buttons. And what we mean by that is basically it's the same as you using your phone and you using the volume like that. So it's really the exact same thing, because again, this is the application. This is not a Kindle. If you click on here, we'll go back to fonts, and we can change the font, the layout, the theme, the weight, the size, everything basically, from colors and all that. Now, there is no color on this. That's what the mini Tab Mini C is for, but this one does have the ability to do everything you want. You can even pinch and zoom, and that automatically ups each individual tiers. You can take your highlights. You have different shades of gray because unfortunately there's no colors unless you consider each shade of gray and their own individual color. So reading is absolutely no problems whatsoever. Now this does have audio, but you have to be careful because technically it does look like it has two speakers, as you see on the side here or the bottom, but if you check very closely, you'll see that this side, every one of the holes is tooled so that it passes through into a speaker, but this side, only one is. In fact, this is not a speaker. Looks like one from a lot of angles, but it actually is a microphone. It's not a speaker. Very clever and kind of a nice design, and a lot of manufacturers from iPhone and Sony, they all do that anyways. So this is the beauty of this unit, is that you can do audio.
He felt that he was restored to consciousness in the right nick of time for the especial purpose of holding a conference with the second messenger dispatched.
Although it isn't stereo speakers, you don't really need your audiobooks to be stereo speakers. It sounds crisp, it sounds full, but I would say it's a little bit on the quiet side. The quality is high, but it's not very loud. It's not filling a room like a Hisense device. But overall, you can read your books and check out your audiobooks. What does that leave? Manga and graphic novels. They kind of have something interesting on Amazon, if you don't really know, because they bought out Comixology, which introduced this panel view or guided view. So as you swipe after double tapping, it will go panel by panel and isolate the individual comic cells. Or you can go back out and then change the entire page, and you still have the ability to pinch and zoom. Don't worry, it's a little bit laggy. We'll show you X mode in a little bit. Now, you will see that if you go to graphic novels, you get all those features, and you don't get those features on the actual manga. Manga is simply just the way it is. If you double tap on it, it's just going to zoom in. It doesn't zoom into any specific cell. But I must say it does look very good because this is a high quality screen. It's 300 ppi, so it is fitting a lot more for manga because it's only 7 inches rather than those kind of comic book store flat comic books you get in North America. But either way, you're going to have no problem with quality on either one of those two fronts. As we said, you kind of live and die by the speed modes. You'll see that if you looked at the normal mode, you couldn't see anything because it's terrible. And then you get into speed and X mode and it suddenly becomes upwards of 27, 28 frames a second. So it's completely usable with things from across the entire unit. For example, if you go to Google Play and you tap on something and then you want to watch the little promotional video, maybe you'll have to go over here, hit up E INK Center, hit up an X mode, and then you'll get a little bit more fluidity. It becomes very snappy as you just burn through the unit. You can really make it your own. It just becomes a lot more usable. You can go to apps. You see how quick the functions become because of that. Now for the glow light, let us check it out. So you will see that we're at full cool light, and I must say, a lot of the times the cool light looks extremely blue. That's not what we're seeing here. This is quite white. I much really appreciate that. A lot of the times they make it super blue and you would change that by adding the warm, but that's not really what we're experiencing at all. You can make the warm very orange, and I'm not sure why they always make it this kind of extreme candlelight. I think this is probably as warm as you'd want to go, right around there, but to each their own, and Onyx does a very good approach at it. Now this is a flush screen and bezel, so what that means is everything looks a little bit further away than the sunken screen and bezel variant we saw on the Leaf 2 white, but unfortunately with the Page we only get black. We actually do not get a white color, so you're stuck with this body construction. Pros and cons time, everyone. This unit is twice as fast as its predecessor, features an additional gig of RAM and a larger battery, as well as just having a lot faster of an overall feeling when it comes to the real world application of what you're touching on the screen. However, all of that comes with an increase in weight, a $50 price difference, and the fact that you don't get any additional color choices, as the sunken screen and bezel white version seems to be absent from this line, although exists on the Leaf too. Overall, we can't say we don't like it. It's built well and it performs wonderfully, and can basically do anything you want as Google Play takes the reins. Everybody, thanks for watching.